first person to enter the ring, and when they were leaving the Undertaker's music, and a non-title match began between them, which ended with the victory of the Undertaker, and it was clear that the Undertaker was tired in this the match, then in the enmity of Randy Orton and Edge. Each of them had to choose a wrestler to face the other, and he started choosing Randy Orton for a wrestler to face Edge. Christian entered to face Edge and had a great match, but it ended with Edge winning. Then suddenly Randy Orton appears on the screen and says, "Congratulations, Edge, you played a good match, but I was surprised by the presence of Christian. He is not the wrestler I chose for you." And Edge was surprised, and suddenly the Undertaker music rang. The result? Then Christian pushed Edge into the ring from behind him. Then the Undertaker caught him and did a chokeslam. Then he went out and played with Rey Mysterio a match to determine who would be in the fatal four-way match and won it. It was confirmed Undertaker's hand was severely injured as a result of his last match with Rey Mysterio, where Taker bled heavily during the match. And the case was diagnosed as fractures of the nose and orbital bones, in addition to a slight concussion, as a result of receiving a wrong blow from Mysterio, who was the actor. And he was suspicious of all wrestlers, specifically CM Bank, Jack Swagger, Rey Mysterio and Sheamus, and because The Undertaker returned at SummerSlam 2010. It was made clear that Kane wanted fame as a result of punishing the perpetrator, but in the end it was Kane who did it, and then he reproached his brother. So that Undertaker returned at the SummerSlam festival and tried to hits Kane, but Kane did a tombstone on The Undertaker to knock him down, and in the next show of Smack Without Kane entered. He is proud of what he did to his brother Undertaker, and he said that he had been planning this operation for 13 years and finally succeeded. And he also said that he is now as strong as The Undertaker and will continue to be a hero, the world heavyweight, for a long time, and no one will be able to stop him. In the next show of Raw, which was on the occasion of the show number 900, a match was scheduled between The Undertaker and Bret Hart, but before the start of the match he entered the Nexus gang. They attacked The Undertaker, but The Undertaker was able to control them. But the lights went out and we saw The Undertaker on the back of Wade Barrett, who was able to make the final move on The Undertaker to throw him to the ground. All of this influences from Kane. On the next SmackDown show, The Undertaker opened the show and said that he could not wait for the Night of Champions festival because he would play against Kane. And The Undertaker requested that this match be of a no-holds-barred type. Night of Champions. The Undertaker played against Kane in an amazing match that ended in Kane's favor after he overturned the Tombstone's move against The Undertaker. The Undertaker is still in a state of complete weakness. In the second season, we were surprised by the return of the famous Undertaker's business manager and Kane's father, Paul Bearer, to help The Undertaker against Kane with the power of the magic jar. And this actually happened, and The Undertaker dominated Kane for 2 consecutive weeks, but in the Hell in a Cell match. The Undertaker played against Kane in a match inside an iron cage, and Kane won this match also because Paul Bearer betrayed The Undertaker to Yazid from the wounds of the dead man. In the match Without the Past, Paul Bearer entered with Kane to talk about the victory. It turned out that Kane brought Bearer back in order to finish The Undertaker completely. The Undertaker returned again in SmackDown, where it was decided to play a Buried Alive match, and it is worth mentioning here that Undertaker had never previously won this match. As it always ended with external interference, which was mostly due to Kane himself, such as his match against McMahon and also his match against Steve Austin. The Undertaker played against Kane, where he was about to win, and he even threw Kane in the grave, had it not been for the incomprehensible interference of the Nexus. The real reason for this absence was Undertaker's back injury. as he needed surgery and also a lack of treatment. It is completely from his previous injury. His enemies with Triple H, 2011, on February 21. 2011 Triple H returned to Raw and challenged Undertaker at WrestleMania 27 and suddenly Sheamus entered and as soon as he entered Triple H kicked him and executed his pedigree move. Triple H for Undertaker and with this victory became the Undertaker series. Confronting Triple H and the return of the Brothers of Destruction, 2012, in WrestleMania 28. The two faced each other again, but this is in an iron cage, and the special referee for this match was Shawn Michaels. At first, the match between them was a blow to Triple H and a blow to Taker until Triple H dominated for a while on the match and he hit Taker through the chair. So he asked Shawn to finish the match or he will end it, so Shawn went and asked Taker, but Taker surprised him and subjugated him with his known move, which angered Shawn Michaels and made him execute on Taker superkick, and then Triple H completes him with his well-known move pedigree. Undertaker hit Triple H repeatedly with the iron chair and with his hand or with a hammer, then Triple H gathered all his strength and performed the DX movement. Then Undertaker hit him with the hammer again and performed his famous finishing move and installed Triple H, thus becoming the Undertaker Series 20-0 before Millennium Raw. There was a discussion about the return of The Undertaker and his participation in the Millennium Raw, and on 24 July 2012 a match was scheduled between Jinder Mahal and Kane. Kane entered the ring to face his opponent, Jinder Mahal, who brought 5 wrestlers with him to face Kane. 28 He entered the ring in his majestic way to greet both of them, the Brothers of Destruction team, and the match ended with the two sides not winning because of Kane and Undertaker's disagreement with the fixation. Back and facing CM Punk, 2013. The Undertaker returned to the episode of Raw Old School and announced his participation in WrestleMania 29, and a 4-way match was held to determine his opponent, in which he faced CM Punk, Big Show, Randy Orton and Sheamus. He won the match CM Punk to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania 29, then in the episode of Raw, which was held to honor Paul Bearer. The Undertaker appeared first and then CM Punk appeared in order to disrespect Paul Bearer, which angered Kane, who confronted him at the end of the episode, where Kane won with his help The Undertaker, but CM Punk stole the Magic Jar, which is a symbol of The Undertaker's strength, and then they faced each other at WrestleMania, where The Undertaker defeated CM Punk. He regained the jar and won 0-21. End of the winning streak, 2014. Undertaker returned after an absence of up to 10 months on February 24, 2014 to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. Undertaker and Brock Lesnar exchanged control at the beginning of the fight and the cuff tilted in favor of The Undertaker, a little. But Lesnar returned to control his opponent after that, and both tried to end the fight early with knockouts, none of which were completed at all. The legendary Undertaker resisted with all his might 2 F5 knockouts from the monster Brock, as Brock Lesnar responded to him when he resisted the violent tombstone blow. The Undertaker tried to repeat the blow, but Brock Lesnar reversed the situation and executed a third F5 strike that was enough to end the legend streak. Undertaker. The Undertaker's balance is 1-21. Confronting Bray Wyatt and returning for revenge for the series, 2015. Return at WrestleMania 31 and face Bray Wyatt, at WrestleMania 31 on March 30, 2015. The expected confrontation between the legend Undertaker and his opponent Bray Wyatt began with sharp looks between the two parties, followed by screams from White before the physical contact began, which was masterfully controlled by The Undertaker, and by implementing the movement of walking on the ropes that the fans loved, and carried out some of the movements that prompted the masses chant the name of the Old School. However, Bray Wyatt was not up for grabs in the mouth of the legend and was able to seize the course of the fight and control his legendary opponent. And he made successive attempts to stabilize and subjugate him that did not succeed in breaking the known Undertaker's endurance strength, and White continued to deal violent blows to Undertaker, who delivered the lead. Summed it up. Undertaker surprised Bray Wyatt with a subjugation move that would have ended the confrontation had it not been for the ingenuity of his opponent, who was able to evade and regain control of the fight, all to smash Bray, who eluded the pin before the third count, shocking The Undertaker. Bray Wyatt surprised his opponent with a move, Sister Abigail, but to no avail when Undertaker managed to evade the pinning. And White carried out his strange movement in which he walks on his hands upside down, to find Undertaker rising in his wonderful way on the ring floor, and after another fight Bray controlled him. Undertaker succeeded. He snatched the win with the once tombstone movement that White couldn't resist. Back in Battleground, 2015, in the 2015 Battleground, Undertaker returned to avenge his winning streak breaker Brock Lesnar when he cost him to lose the WWE Heavyweight belt and executed him 2 hits. Tombstone. In the Pro Battleground Raw show, he announced a confrontation between Undertaker and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2015. After the legendary battle that took place between them in the show, they were kicked out of the building. And in the last Raw show before SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar was surprised by the appearance of Undertaker, a blow below the belt, and he executed a chokehold, saw the grave and left in his usual way. Brock Lesnar vs. SummerSlam 2015, Brock Lesnar and his legendary opponent, Undertaker, who was attacked by his opponent as soon as he reached the ring, entered the ring, but despite this, Undertaker was not an easy prey for him and succeeded in expelling him from the ring after strong blows.
وفي النهاية أرجو أن أكون قد أوصلت المعلومة بسهولة ويسر. لا تخرج قبل أن تشرفنا بوضع بصمتك. لا تخرج قبل أن تشرفنا بوضع بصمتك. ولكم مني جزيل الشكر والتقدير. في حفظ الله.